of my first vlog. Um, what I wanted to discuss was this topic that's been on my head for a while. Um, Technology. Now, I want to jump into my favorite subject of technology, and that's in gaming. Back when I was a kid, the first thing you thought about was gaming, was about Atari systems, household systems, and what recently started coming out, which is around 1996, was Game Boys. Now, if you don't know what a Game Boy is, you obviously had never didn't have you weren't you were born in the late 2000s. That's okay. Some people didn't know what they were, but it was like a new sensation sweeping the nations all around the world. Basically, a household console that you can have in your hands. It was like, wow, freaking amazing. Just blew your mind to have what you could do, what you used to be able to do just at home after school with all your friends, if you had any, or if you were one of those people who decided to keep yourself alone and play games. But yeah, like Atari and stuff, Sega. Hell, I used to go over to my cousin's house and play that. We used to span playing Sonic, the old Sonic, before it started becoming 3D and becoming crap, just absolute crap. Um, if you're wondering why the lighting is different, sorry to cut in with this, but I'm using different lights. This is around nighttime, so I figured if I made a vlog, it'd be less time to edit it. But back to technology and a video game subject. Um, well, consoles were becoming a little more less playable, but they had the better games, better graphics and whatnot. And everybody knows that older graphics didn't have much color. Now, if you're a Pokemon fan and you've heard of the Red, Blue, and Yellow series that's being brought back to the 3DS, um, back in the day, old games did not have the decent game design that they have now. Now you can have a crappy game, but it would look, if you took that crappy looking game back then, it would look like the most fantastic new revolution in gaming, even if the system seemed broken. Now, uh, that's how much of a leap and bound gaming has made over the years in technology. Now, what I'm recording with now is my phone, and for those of you who are teenagers and starting out YouTube, we did not. I did not have this back when I was in high school. Shit. What I had was a phone with a built-in walkie-talkie. Now, if you don't know what the walkie-talkie is, it's what Nextel and Sprint used to have, where you click a button and it'll make a loud-ass beep, and you could pretty much walkie-talkie anyone who was in your phone book. Now, this was only a feature that was available for those who also had walkie-talkie phones, and this made it like a quick one-click call. Now, this works basically through the phone lines like any other cell phone would, but except our phones did not have cameras in it. We did not have cameras. And back then, if you see someone with a flip phone these days, it's because they can't afford a smartphone. But it's most likely got a camera to it. If they do not have a camera, then that means they decided not to get the camera, because those are like the cheapest models now. Anyway, let's get back. Let me jump back to gaming for a second. Now, for few games, reason why I brought up cameras is that a few games had camera systems to them, such as the PS2, the Nintendo 60, no, the Nintendo Game Boy, Game Boy Color had this game that was, uh, it was like a camera attached that was attached to the cartridge, just like that. Um, it did not have a decent camera. It was basically everything looked like a pixelated black and white mess on your Game Boy screen. Now, if you were to bring it onto your Game Boy Advance, you can make the picture wider and smaller because the Game Boy Advance then had L and R buttons, the bumper buttons. Um, Now let's let's jump a little ahead to the Game Boy Advance SP. The Game Boy Advance SP was the first console, the first handheld game to have a built-in light. Now, this may not sound like much to you now, but there used to be a there used to be a link cable flashlight. Basically works like an LED light, but except it only had one light and it was barely bright enough to light up the screen, and it had a glass bulb in it before LEDs were actually a thing. Um, it would drain your battery. You'd have like a couple hours to play that game when you could have played that game for like a day or so on two AA batteries. Now, here's another thing I wanted to say. The the C and D batteries are now becoming obsolete. Everything is being replaced with AA batteries. If you don't know what a C or D battery is, it's about a D battery is about that big and that thick. C battery was slightly smaller, just slightly. And what kids used to do, being stupid and being jerks, this was back before most of you who have grown up with a tablet in your hands would ever know. But these batteries used to be taken and thrown at each other like rocks. Or there would be some kids who were jerks enough to take and fill a long tube sock with and beat the crap out of each other with. But let's steer away from the violence and get back to video games. Um, then PC games started becoming a thing, and PC games were almost better than console games because you could modify your computer to be however speed you want it to be. It is the same nowadays, but um, there wasn't all that much detail in the games, or there wasn't all that much popularity in the games because it took a long time to get the connection done. If you were playing on the internet, then kudos. You could play on the internet. But then there was also the low connection speed that we don't face now, but some of us do face it now. But back then, you couldn't use a landline, which you don't. If you don't know what a landline is, it's that phone. It's a phone that was always connected to a wall. Um, Nowadays, not a lot of houses might have it because, hey, look what I'm recording this video with, a camera phone. Look at what I'm watching YouTube on, a camera phone. Technology has jumped leaps and bounds from back then. We still don't have hoverboards. That's the thing I'm kind of glad about. You know how much energy that would have to be used to power these days? Sorry. But nowadays we can look to a future where there might be a better game. Anybody can make one. All you gotta do is just look it up. Nowadays, it's a lot easier to look up things. Back then, you were only limited to what was around you. Let's say if you wanted to look up pictures about animals or the most toxic things in the world, or the start of video games, you wouldn't be able to look that up. You'd have to look to a person who was that nerdy person who knew all about their consoles and whatnot, computers. But let's not look down on them because they have the knowledge that we need for the future. Um, Now that I think I got a little off task for a second, but the Game Boy Advance SP had the built-in lighting capability that the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Color severely lacked. And plus, now it was the first handheld console to be rechargeable. Now that might not seem like much now, but back then you could go anywhere for batteries, and either the batteries didn't last that long or you had almost nowhere to store it. And then all you had to do was worry about, oh, where am I going to plug it in at? You can plug it into your car now, you can plug it into your wall, you can even have a to-go battery pack, was what I remember. You could just like switch out the batteries or something like that. But you needed the right tools for it. Nowadays, filming videos like this would not be possible. Having the lighting like this would not be possible. Um, Now, the world is now close enough to be considered connected. We can talk to people across the world. If 10 years ago, if you would have told me that I could take this 3DS and talk to someone around the world, around somewhere from France, almost like instantly talk to them and text them, like, well, I'm talking about Monster Hunter. Sorry about that obsessive with that game, but if you were to tell me that 10 years ago that I could be talking to someone in from France, on a game, and we could go play together without even being in the same room, I'd be saying, okay, are you tricking me? Is he actually in the next room? Or is there a secret cord that's plugs into the game or do something magical to the game? Back then, impossible. Now, it's practically child's play. You could go up to a 10-year-old and ask him, how do I connect with my game? And he could just press a few buttons and he connects you to the internet so you can play with your friends online. By the way, I do wish I could play with more people online, but yeah, looking forward to finally being able to play with live stream on uh, YouTube with other Monster Hunter players, but I think that won't happen until Monster Hunter Cross comes out. Hopefully that comes out soon. Now, after the Game Boy Advance, there was a DS, first of its kind, a touchscreen game. This might be going on a little too long, but sorry about that. I'll split it up into two parts. Alright, so I'll be back in the next video.